Hey everyone, it's me, Marshall, aka Marshball, back at it again, wrapping up the series with the Afreeca Freaks and Griffin with Game 3. The series has been very snowbally, both teams with very quick and short games. Uh, so let's get to the Game 3. Overall, I feel like Afreeca Freaks has been the better team on the day. They really should have won Game 2, or at least shouldn't have lost as quickly as they did. They really threw it barren, and uh, is the tendencies of a very young team, so it's understandable. Pretty crazy that Kiin is the oldest member on the team with only about 2 years of experience. Once again, Afreeca Freaks attacking Lahen's support pool. This leads to Jayce up again, and Kiin goes to Jayce again. There's been a really high priority on Jayce today, and I wonder if Sword will go back to his trusty Aatrox, or if he will decide to pick another matchup. I really think that Ornn is still very good into Jayce. It's something that Sword has played before, and it actually got buffed this patch. It got some bonus AD damage on Q. Freaks like to go with the same bot lane. So they can either pick. I know that Griffin has a tendency to not pick their jungler till later, so they could pick Sword's matchup here. Technically, Aatrox is a flex pick, three-way flex for Griffin. Tarzan has played it in the jungle, as well as Chovy in the mid lane. He hasn't played it. I don't think he's played it mid this season, but he's definitely capable of playing it. Griffin bans Nico. I think that's more of a mid lane ban, but Jayce definitely is a flexible pick. And Nico would give Griffin, cause Griffin to lose their red side counter pick advantage with double flex picks. Both teams taking a run on the jungle pool. I think that Tarzan can play a wide variety of picks, so I think it's that Dread gets hurt a lot worse. Ban on Akali, Chovy got the MVP on Akali, he popped off, so they definitely don't want to see that pick into the hands of one of the best Akali players in the world. Uh, very interestingly, Karma falls so far down in priority. Some interesting hovers right there, but Freaks locks in the Elise, giving them flexibility to kind of pick anything. It's not going to be any of these assassins they're hovering since they have to blind pick. The fact that Karma fell so far down in the draft is pretty questionable, pretty interesting. I wouldn't say questionable, but Griffin now has the conundrum of double flex picks. Lahen's with this classic singed hover, but they decide to last pick Corki. Corki is a fine matchup into Karma. When Karma, the real like gank assist, I guess kill pressure is if somehow Karma gets her W tether and stuns you, and Corki can pretty easily just Valkyrie away and laugh at it. I think in the future that we will see someone play Corki top and threaten it as a flex pick. Corki top, honestly, I said it in the last video. Klepto Corki top lane can abuse the hell out of melee matchups, and Valkyrie makes him a very safe from ganks. Along with Package, a great global that allows you to get a free back off. You can E-max on Corki. You can even go Iceborne Gauntlet, Doingby style. I don't know if I would advise that. Griffin with a non-traditional 1-3-1 comp. Same thing with Afreeca. Technically, Karma is a side laner. Once again, they have the Karma Ezreal weird synergy. But it will be triple TP on Afreeca versus double TP on Griffin. Viper decides to go for more lane kingdom. Karma and Corki both kill wards, getting some XP. Kiin and once again elects for the phase rush and actually decides to go. So there's a bit of adaptation here. Kiin decides to get Time Warp Tonic instead of his stopwatch for more sustain. He also gets Gathering Storm for more late game damage, which is very interesting. I feel like that means that he feels like he can get away with scaling even harder with Gathering Storm, that he doesn't even need Scorch. That's my read on it in this situation. Because I don't think that he's taking it just because, like, oh, we need some late game damage. That's definitely not the reason why. In theory, you should always take, if you think you can get away with it, you should always take Gathering Storm. So I think that's the reason why. Just had a moment right there. I totally forgot that Celestial Body used to be a rune that took the place of Time War Tonic. Completely forgot what it did, or what, even the name. I remember the icon though. Anyways, so same items as before, both Thorn Shield and Corrupting. Kiin this time doesn't get as hard of a push. Sword goes toward his Tri-Brush. Everyone knows about the level 2 Elise cheese, so he is afraid of that. Kiin also wards his I would say Blast Cone Brush to watch out for a wraparound gank. Sword's doing a much better job this time, forcing Kiin to push harder. Kiin has to expend some mana, and both Sword and Kiin are playing pretty well. Kiin gets the shove in on the top tower. Sword's farming really well though. Actually, I don't think he got the shove. It's either frozen or slow. I think it's slow pushing back towards Jayce. But this time, Sword did a much better job with wave manipulation, picking up creeps, and is pretty even in CS. The wave is pushing towards Kiin, so he'll probably even out the wave. But I would attribute this to two things. Sword actually wave manipulating pretty well, but also the threat of a Xin Zhao gank. Jayce has to play a lot more passive with without vision early in the game, and Xin Zhao can really mess up his day, even if it is 2v2. Kiin also had to expend a lot of mana to get the push in. So he has about a 2 CS lead. I would say that's pretty much a wash at this point. Still has a biscuit and all of his corrupting pots, so he can stay in lane for a very long time. Aatrox trying to get a freeze going. Kiin very apprehensive, not looking to auto Sword down. The wave's in a very neutral spot right now, which is actually pretty good for the Aatrox. Both of them playing very safe, especially since it's a red. Sword has the red side scuttle. Both junglers show bot side, so Kiin can now look to go play aggressive. Dread dies. Kiin with not a lot of mana, but he still has 2 of his corrupting pots and biscuits. Sword looks to trade aggressively, getting level 6. Kiin procs phase rush, auto. Nice trade right there by Kiin. Definitely is looking to push this wave in and trying to get a base off. Pops both a biscuit and a corrupting pot charge to get some mana back. Sword pops his own pot to tank the wave up. Kiin channels his back and actually decides to go through. Sword with the CS lead as the wave pushes back to Kiin. But he gets the respect ninja tab eyes. And gets those 2 long swords that will be going into a Caulfield's Warhammer. On the flip side, Kiin with serrated dirk and longsword along with boots. So he will be hitting a lot harder. He will be hitting his first 1 item power spike a lot sooner than Sword, who went both tier 2 boots, and he's going for Caulfield's, which does not build into his first item Black Cleaver. But unlike last game, Sword actually is about even, so he won't fall as far behind going with this more CDR defensive build. Kiin once again playing very passive. He doesn't really know where Xin Zhao is. He has no vision, and the jungle has been bot side for the most part. Dread gets a pink ward down in the pixel brush, and looks for ganks. Kiin instantly goes aggressive and flash E's to knock back. Dread a little bit indecisive there. He needed to go for that gank a little bit sooner, and Kiin needed to get Cocoon into Jayce hammer form knockback. Instead, Kiin kind of wastes his flash. He doesn't waste it, he trades flashes, but that easily could have been a kill. Double TP burned by Karma and Jayce. Sword gets to push a wave in. Elise picks up the farm, so although Kiin is behind, someone picks up the farm. I thought that was a very aggressive double TP. I think that what am I saying? I think that only 1 TP from Karma was necessary. He did have an advantage because Sword had the TP back to lane, but I just don't really think it was necessary, and I don't really see how the a play could have worked out. Kiin gets his Caulfields. Interesting that the items moved. But walks back to lane with the pink ward. Sword gets a Ruby Crystal, so he's looking once again to get a cleaver. Lehen's with a zoning Rakan knockup. See, the thing with double teleport is that you can't. It's an animation, so you can't know that it's double teleport. Kiin was back in base too, so was he? I think Kiin was back in base, so they couldn't see. They didn't have vision of both of them teleporting, so and Griffin is a good team, so against maybe bad teams, you think they might disrespect the double TP, but Griffin respected the double TP. They assume that if you see one, it's both, so but as I said before, Aatrox Kiin doesn't really lose much off of it. CS once again is a wash. It's pretty even. Sword drops his pink ward in the tri-brush, while Kiin drops his pink ward in his own blast cone brush. Actually, it got cleared out. Kiin uses a shock blast to see if someone's camping in the brush, and goes for the scuttle crab. If you have the chance, you always want to get that scuttle crab for yourself. Having vision topside is so valuable, especially against a mid-roaming champion like Corki. Sword with the Kindle gem, so he's at 20% CDR now. Valuing CDR over the movement speed and attack damage of the Phage. Kiin eats all of that wave. Sword doing sword things. But he confirms that Jayce backed. That's actually subtle play. Kiin instantly buys Ghost Blade, and Ghost Blade's back to lane. Sword pushes the wave in and gets it back. I think he can have afford Phage by now, and that will give him one step closer towards his Black Cleaver. Actually, he can't buy anything, and it's on the outside. It's kind of a weird back by Sword, but he doesn't have vision, and the least could be topside. So there's no point in just staying there for no reason. He would at least, if he had refillable, he could get the refillable charges or pin cord slots. But it's mostly just like a safety. Like, I'm just gonna recall, and I can't be killed if I'm walking back to lane or if I'm in my own base. Kind of a weird concept, but if you have nothing better to do, then there's no point not to recall, in my opinion. Corki with the package, so top lane has to play a bit more passive. Corki ends up wasting his package. Both teams respecting it. Pro play, it's really hard to use package because teams and players are not disrespectful like in solo queue. They actually respect it. Like TFL, for an example, as soon as someone goes in Fog of War, players instantly back off. Both junglers show bot side, so top lane knows they're on an island now, and Kiin gets to push in a wave. But the advantage really isn't there for Kiin this game. He has gotten less help, but he also has had to play respect. It's really more about jungle and how Xin Zhao is as a champion, first of all, but also with the vision denial and just purely at the threat of Xin Zhao has forced Kiin to play less aggressively. So I wouldn't say that Kiin is playing worse than he did in game 1. It's just the champion picks and Kiin just playing the matchup well. It's not even just a solo lane matchup, it's a 2v2 matchup. Very similarly to how mid jungle works, how bot support works, how bot support jungle works. So after taking tier 1, Afreeca elects to lane swap and send Kiin to the bot side. Sword finishes his Black Cleaver, while Kiin gets another serrated Dirk. Both players have teleport, but elect not to use it. Looking at the wards, Sword had a really deep ward in the topside jungle, but that's about it. Also, Griffin hadn't really overextended enough for Kiin to have to burn TP. Jayce walks mid, clears out some vision, and they actually do another swap. So the dragon is live. They kind of gave that away for free. Maybe they just didn't want to fight for it. It is an, as LS would say, open Drake, but kind of just a weird rotation. Kiin just goes mid and gives up a wave bot side. And because Griffin has the push advantage, they're able to get a huge chunk on tower. Sword respect ults away for the movement speed. He kind of was greeting out by hitting the tower right there. He didn't need to be there. He had already denied a whole wave. And then Sword for another one of his patented early game stopwatches, about like pre-20 minute stopwatches. The more I watch Sword, the more I notice these things that you don't really notice on the broadcast. Just because, stopwatch is just like, oh, I guess he had it in his rune. It's really hard to value a stopwatch. But from what I've observed of Sword, he's not one of those tilt waste stopwatch. He actually uses it in game-changing situations. And that's what really makes an early game stopwatch worth it, is do you use this item to like hard change the game. So I actually don't mind it. Unfortunately, this does kind of what Aatrox and the current meta build does, is that it even delays his two item completion even longer. Sword caught out again, is forced to ult. Sword really needs these ults to have any teamfight pressure. The reason why teamfight Aatrox is so That's a really, really aggressive minion trying to deny some minions from Lehens isn't punished for it. Corki gets the top tier 1 turret, so they trade something for the mid tier. Mid tier obviously is much better to get than bot tier or top tier. Tier 1. Jayce resets, and we can take a look at the gold. The gold is dead even in top lane, which makes sense, you know. Even CS, no kills. I don't think anyone really got any plates, so it's pretty much a wash. Based on items, though, since Sword has gone with his build, mostly him playing Aatrox and forcing to play the meta build, but also him making the choice of going stopwatch second, getting tier 2 boots first. All really good purchases, but forces him to be in an item discrepancy now where Kiin has the double lethality Ghostblade Dustblade spike. Kiin drops his pink ward in the Blast Cone brush. Wow, very offensive second item Void Staff by Elise. Sword eats the wave, decides to full clear it as opposed to setting up some kind of freeze. He really can't afford to freeze now. The Infernal Drake is up, and making that wave push towards their tier 1 is very important. Afreeca looking for a pick right now. Jayce taking the respectful long way so he doesn't get picked off by Xin Zhao and Aatrox right there. Another just good high elo strong professional move. Afreeca freaks push in mid and look to set up for the Infernal Drake. Dread kind of in a very precarious position right there. Kiin is getting zoned by Lehens right now. Good Ezreal ult by aiming. Good poke EQ. Oh, and Dread is able to steal it. What a great steal by the young Smite. Aatrox gets the revive from Sudden Death. Is able to stopwatch. Unfortunately, he still dies because of an amazing play by flash to the skies by Jayce. And Afreeca hard wins that fight. I think the big shutdown right here is the Corki shutdown. Let's take a look. Galio zones 3 of the members off, and Dread's able to get into the Smite pit. Kiin kiting it out, flashes in, forces a Valkyrie by Corki. He really wanted to flash in QW and get some huge AoE damage. Ends up dying anyways, but aiming is able there to kite and clean it up. See, Yukal's pretty hype. He said, nice for sure. So you can really see the poke damage from Corki and Ezreal and Jayce coming up big right there. It really feels like Afreeca has the poke advantage, although the Corki is very fed. Chovy always finds a way to vacuum up as much CS as possible. Jayce going for the Black Cleaver, getting the Kindle Gem. Sword finally completes his Death's Dance. Kiin also gets a stopwatch. Stopwatch definitely would have saved him in that last team fight. This is at a point of the game where it's all about who gets Baron first and how each team plays the side lanes correctly. So they're gonna send Kiin and Aatrox Kiin and Sword bot lane. Both of them have teleport up, and they can kind of handshake of trading CS. Corki is looking for a roam. Was Corki seen? I don't think Corki was seen on the minimap, but Kiin is playing respectfully, knowing that there's no vision of Corki. Sword gets a Scuttle Crab. That's free money, that's always good, and free vision. A lot of top laner sense is knowing how your opponent normally interacts, and then for some reason they change their behavior to something that makes no sense. So a lot of the times, a very aggressive player will suddenly stop being aggressive for no reason. And that's normally a tell that, hey, maybe the jungle's here. Or, for example, someone that's very passive starts playing aggressive for no reason. And it's a really big mind game. But I think at the professional level, it's not. You can't assume that, oh, they're just not playing it right because they're bad. Because you can't be bad if you're an LCK, unless, like, I guess you were on those, like, I don't want to meme on some people that were ex-pros that are way better than me in all aspects of the game, but unless you're a select few, if you make the LCK, you're a challenger player, you're a good player, you're the top 0.1%, so, and even if you're like an NA pro, like, you're a professional League of Legends player, even if you're bad. So you get paid to play League. I mean, I would give up that, I would take that deal in a heartbeat. I mean, granted, I would probably try not to be bad, but playing video games for a living, you can say, like, wake up every morning and say, I get to play video games for money. Sword with a BF sword, looking for third item GA. Third item GA is very good here, especially with Aatrox ult, and allows him to get possibly a reset. Kiin gets his Black Cleaver. Afreeca gets the Scuttle Crab. Kiin throws out EQ's Shock Blast to see if someone's in the brush. Both players abandon top lane as a big fight starts to brew. Aiming is picked off. Aatrox goes in for the hero mode, has to flash out, and loses his GA. Aatrox is in a very vulnerable spot and ends up dying with Kiin. Flashes in. Flash knockback. Somehow Lehen survives with some sick recall mechanics, but more importantly, they killed the jungler, and they can look to bait Baron themselves. No vision at all. Kiin's TPing defensively to mid. They really don't want to lose anything here. And Griffin has to know the Baron is gone. Let's take a look at Sword. So Sword is slightly out of position here and is forced to TP. Chooses to TP on that pink ward right on that pink ward. I don't think his TP is actually that bad. It's very offensive. So I don't blame him for getting caught out there. This is the play that really screws him, though. He decides to face tank and goes for some big damage on, I guess, the aiming. Sword has to know that that's a Karma with a bunch of shields, and it's an Ezreal with Iceborne Gauntlet at full health. You're not going to do anything, and he honestly just kind of gives away his GA for free. GA is, obviously, by its nature, is very inferior of an item when you don't have the passive up, and it becomes much less gold efficient. So once again, I wouldn't say that Griffin threw at Baron, but this one Baron decides basically the whole game. Ezreal Jayce is doing a good job poking Siege, and it's just a full court press right now. Lehen's looking for a YOLO engage, sniffed out by Dread, and Ezreal gets top tower, a huge EQ Shock Blast, accelerated Shock Blast by Kiin, who's just playing it slow. They get the mid tower, they go mid, aiming with a terrible pathing. He should have walked around, but wants to burn E because he feels like it, I guess. They get a free Infernal Drake as well, and they look to reset. Kiin kind of low on mana, so he has to watch out. He has a Hex Drinker for... This is a play where Kiin kind of gets caught out, but he's so far ahead that it doesn't really matter. He's actually allowed to be disrespectful in that sense, because he knows that he has Galio ult. He knows that with Hex Drinker and Black Cleaver that no one can burst him down fast enough. So in an even game state, that's a catch out, but and also in an even game state, I don't think Kiin would actually elect to fight for that. Overall, I think that Afreeca Freaks deserved to win this series. They played their lanes better on the day, and it should have been a 2-0, and but they threw a Baron in the second game, so we got a third game. I would say Kiin outplayed Sword. I couldn't really find that many mistakes from Kiin. I would say that the one on Camille when he tried to flash in to get a kill was a slight damage miscalculation. But in terms of his lane control, in terms of his positioning and top laner sense, I thought that he played immaculately. Sword made a few small mistakes, but I wouldn't say that he costed his team the game in any stretch. It's just two good Korean teams playing at it, and definitely hope that we'll see this matchup maybe in the playoffs. Anyways, that's the end of my Griffin vs. Afreeca series VOD reviews. My name is Marshball, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.